Six Nations Week 4 rounds off with Ireland getting another bonus point win, this time over France, 26 points to 14. It was 4 tries to 2 in this one. Very one-sided game for so much of this game. It was ridiculous viewing at times, and the stats, which I will get to, actually back up just how one-sided it was at times. It felt like watching an arm wrestle where that one strong guy was just pushing down, 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 and the guy on the receiving end was only just able to hold on for such a short time, I suppose, or a long time, depending on which way you want to look at it. But either way, it was being pushed into submission, and eventually, I mean, there was one early break. Best got the first try. 3 minutes in, after Ireland turned down 3, they turned down a lot of threes in this one. They were definitely going for a bonus point win. But yeah, they were just pushing and pushing for such a long period. You can see the gap. The second try didn't come until the half-hour mark with Sexton on a little wraparound move. I wrote a note on my paper that says "finally, finally," because it was coming for such a long time. I suppose if you're an Ireland fan, you look at it and go, kind of good that we're in control of the match, but we need to score. Eventually you got there. It wasn't that long after until Jack Conan got his try, kind of powered over from 5 meters out. Ringrose was effective in the air and almost had a try of his own, but they ruled it out for being knocked forward. That was a few minutes earlier. So from that half an hour mark, the French seemed to be tiring and the Irish were cracking through. Halftime came, it was 19-0. France not really in the game. It was pretty much camped in their 22. Second half, Earls, who looked really dangerous, got a try from a little inside ball from a line-out move. That's kind of an Ireland specialty. That made it 26-0, but that's where the scoring stopped for the Irish on the 56th minute, or when the conversion went over. But to be fair, it was about that point that they got the bonus point try. Furlong goes off, Best goes off, Henderson goes off, Murray goes off, Sexton goes off. That's a lot of big names to go off. That didn't stop Ireland from looking dangerous, but they weren't able to kind of crack things. And this was a weird one because I watched this game when I got up before work in the morning, but I didn't manage to finish it before I had to actually leave for work. So I got about 60 minutes through the game, and then I was spoiled as to what the result was. So I was kind of surprised that Ireland didn't go on to score any more points. And then as I watched the rest of the game just now when I got home, I knew France had scored 14 points, but they were so running out of time. I couldn't believe they managed to score 14 points because they had a yellow card. There was penalty after penalty after penalty. Somehow Lama didn't manage to score a try. The French managed to scramble on him. And then, yeah, 77th minute, Huget gets his try. That guy's always involved, for better or worse, but from a little Aldrit line break. That was during the yellow card as well. So with a man down, they managed to score 7 points. So they win the yellow card 7-0. And then Shat gets his try right on kind of full time from a maul. They had to TMO that one as well. You couldn't see the ball, but it looked for all money like somebody had to have got that down. So yeah, that was it for the game. I suppose that makes the scoreline a little bit more respectable for France, but until like 75 minutes, there was very slim pickings for them. And it was just the Irish constantly knocking on the door. I suppose credit to the French for not conceding more points, because on another day it could have been more. Both sides knocked it on a wee bit. French didn't have it all there, like any luck, I suppose, early, because they had a couple of guys go off injured. Both their props were off early at one point, although Bumba came back on. Yeah, it started to rain in the second half. France did manage to get a bit more position and territory in that second half, but like I said, the penalties were pretty costly. If you look at the stats, so throughout the whole game, possession, Ireland 65, so France 35. Territory was 72-28. Now that seems about as one-sided as it can get, but according to ESPN, where I got these stats from, the first half territory stats were 89% to 11. I don't know that I've ever seen it that one-sided over a full half. Like sometimes you see it within the first 10 minutes of a game. They say, oh look, it's 90% to 10%. This was over a whole half of rugby, which is just ridiculous. Run meters of the game weren't particularly high, 386 to 138, so that's really on the low side for both sides, really. I mean, 386 is a lot better than 138, but it's nothing phenomenal. Yeah, line-out for Ireland was working a lot better this week, 94%. France is a bit iffy at 76. Tackles, the French had to make, were given 100 more tackles to make than the Irish. They were just under the gun. Ireland made 79 out of 105, which is 75%, and France made 172 out of a possible 205, so 84%. So a better percentage, but man, they had to make a lot more tackles. So yeah, again, I don't know how you feel about this if you're Irish, because you look at it and go, man, did we dominate this game, but we weren't clinical enough to punish? Or you just look at it and say, we played for an hour, got the 4 bonus point tries that we needed, and yeah, that was enough. So, I mean, you can kind of look at it both ways, I suppose. For the French, I suppose you take the fact that you scored 2 late tries as a bit of a consolation. But when you start thinking that way, you're kind of getting into Italy territory like they did against Scotland. So you want to be in the game a lot more than that. They just were not for large periods. In terms of key performers, Lama, again, had 8 defenders beaten and 79 run meters, which is more than half of the entire French team. But again, they just had that much more ball. James Ryan was the leading tackler with 13 out of 14. Remember, the team only made 79 tackles, and James Ryan made 13 of them. So it just shows you the kind of workhorse nature that guy's got. For France, the top meter getter was Huget at 34, and a few of those meters would have been just cantering over for that try at the end. Dupont, interestingly, had 5 defenders beaten. I suppose he was a bit of a bright spark at times in a pretty lackluster, no ball performance for the French. Lombe had 28 tackles. He missed 3, but made 28, which is a very busy evening. It's no wonder he went off before full-time. He was subbed as well. So, yeah, I mean, a few cool moments, like Dupont smashed Sexton into touch at one point, which was nice. Ringrose caught Dupont in the end goal. Ringrose was really kind of showing a bit of work rate of his own. He was kind of Mr. Everywhere. Earls, as I said, looked pretty dangerous. So, yeah, it's a win. It's a bonus point. Ireland did exactly what they needed. Could have scored more. Couldn't have had a lot more possession and territory. They pretty much dominated that area game from start to finish. I'm sure Joe Schmidt won't be happy about letting in those 2 late tries. But, hey, you got some guys who are not your top guns to get at least 20 minutes. So that's all minutes in the bank heading into a World Cup year. And 1 week to go. There's still 3 teams that can win it. Wales will do it if they can hold on. England will do it if they can win and Wales lose. And Ireland need a couple of results to go their way, but all they can do is go into Cardiff and try to get that win. So, yeah, it's still all to play for. It's going to make for one very exciting final weekend. You guys let me know your thoughts on this game. How did you think it went? Are you kind of critical of Ireland for this one, or are you kind of bigging them up on how much they were able to dominate and control the game? For France, is this another step back after that win over Scotland? Yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.